On the episode today, we're going to be going over how to build your own local document server using React as the foundation of the server itself, but you're going to be generating the build one time, and you won't have to go in there and generate new build information because we're going to be building it out with Markdown files and JavaScript references. So whenever you actually build it out, it uses that JavaScript in your build folder to take the new information that you're creating inside your Markdown. Also, this application is light mode, dark mode friendly, and it's also mobile responsive. So you can click on things and move around your documentation. Let's get started. All right, guys, let's get started on this project. So first, I created a new folder, and I'm just going to open it in the integrated terminal. And then I'm going to run just a command to create the app. So we're just going to run, what is it? So we're just going to do mpx create React app. And we're just going to put it in the folder that we're currently in. So let's let that run through. Okay, so while this is creating our React project, I'm going to basically give you a little idea about what this project is about. So previously, I worked with document management online, like Docusaurus offline. So Docusaurus being like a React project, and I really liked it, but I didn't like the fact that every time I wanted to make a change to it, I had to rebuild it and push it out. So I ended up creating something for myself that allows me to build out the app and then basically just save the app. So actually build it and then take that, throw it on my local server, and I have access to all of these document files. And inside the document files, I can create new folders, I can create new files, and it's basically using like a JavaScript that goes in there and grabs all the markdown files and then displays them in a way that is like a document manager. And you don't have to rebuild it. So basically, whenever you're done, you can go into it and view it as you're doing it. So you save the markdown, you make a reference in the JavaScript, and then it just appears on your site. Okay, so that's kind of what we're doing. So let's get started in how to build it. So first thing I want to do, there's a few packages that I want to install. So we already have the majority of the React part. So I guess I can go ahead and let me open up a new terminal for this, and I'm going to go in here and we're just going to do npm run. No, let's do not run. Let's just do npm start. And this will create a local development server for us. So we're going to come over here and do localhost 3000. And we can see that we have this React project. So now that we got this other terminal here, I'm going to show you some of the packages, stuff that we need to install in order to make this work. So I do use like MUI stuff on it, so MUI icons and some other material layouts, so you can add the material. And I'll actually have a reference in the documentation on how to install this, just so you don't have to copy and paste everything that I'm going to put in there. But I have this npm installed, and it's installed in Emotion, MUI, Markdown, scripts, raw, and these are actually important because we're going to be pulling from a public folder that's going to contain the markdown. So the markdown, the router DOM, the rehype raw, and remark. So those are basically just going to be added to our package here, and we're going to be able to utilize them whenever we're actually building out the app. Okay, so that's installed, and we now have all of the new things that we wanted to have on there. So now we have a few dev dependencies that we want to add. So in order to do that, we're also going to install some additional things. So I'm going to copy over this. And again, this will be in the documentation so that you can see it. But basically, we're installing some dev dependencies that should be down here now. So we want to install Sass and then the plugin transform private property and object. Again, these are required because of how we're pulling the markdown files, and everything it'll all work together. So right now we don't have any changes that we've done to this. Okay, so let's go back over here and we're going to open up our files. And inside of our source folder, we're going to start removing some of the stuff in here that we don't want. Actually, probably got to go back here. And we can leave those alone for right now. Okay, so let's first start off with removing all the stuff that we don't need. So we're going to get rid of the app CSS, the test, and yes, it is broken because I'm deleting files that it is looking for, but these are not files that we want or need as part of our local document setup. Okay, so now we can come in here and edit this app file to get rid of all of the stuff that is not needed, and just kind of set it up the way that we need it. So let's first get rid of these, and we're going to start off with just a blank app. And then the same thing for the index.js. We don't need to report web vitals because this is a local server. We don't need that anymore. We don't need this anymore. All right, so now we have this blank page that's being loaded, which is how we want it to start. Okay, so next step, and I'm trying to remember how I built this because I did kind of build it on a whim. I didn't like build it as part of like creating a video. I built it because I didn't like the way that the previous document storage, you either had to do it online or it was a little bit of a complicated, cumbersome process. So you might have to bear with me as I kind of look through my old code and make it work here. Okay, so we're not using Next or Nest or anything like this. We're just basically building out a simple React app that then goes in there and displays what we want it to. So let's start building out some of our structure here. So let's go into a source folder. We're going to create our components. So we got a components folder, and then we're going to be using Sass. So I'm going to create a Sass folder as well. And we did install the npm Sass to allow it to be able to process our Sass. So let's go ahead and inside of here, we're going to add our Sass folder. So Sass, and then we're going to create a file called layout.scss. Okay, so inside of our Sass folder, let's create this new file called layout.scss. So the layout is basically the entire structure of the application to make it where it's going to have a header, a footer, a sidebar, the content, and then a right bar that contain like child content items. So I'm not going to retype out the entire layout as well because it is a lot and it's basically just customizations. That reminds me, customizations. I have a colors.scss so that we can reference that. So inside of our colors, I'm just going to create these generic colors that I'm using throughout the layout. So you can modify the colors. You can also modify the layout, but you don't necessarily need to if you want to use the application the way that I'm using it, which is all of this. So you don't have to use that the way that I'm using it, but you can if you want this to just work right out the box. So you don't really have to edit the CSS at all, but you can change your colors, however you want to do it there. Okay, so now that we have our index is populated from our layout SCSS, we need to actually start adding some things into it, which is going to be part of, I think we're done with this file. Yeah, we're done with this file. So now we're going to be starting to add things inside of the actual app folder itself. All right, so let's go up here. And first, let's import our use state and use effect. And this is going to be coming from React. And then let's go ahead and import a few different things. So we're going to do the browser router. We're going to import routes, route. So navigate. We're going to use params and use navigate. And this is going to be from React router DOM. Okay, so we have our two imports that are going to be structuring it for us. Eventually, we'll actually import our components like the doc layout so that we can get the layout of the actual doc itself. But before we do that, let's go ahead and start adding in or customizing this to make it where it works. So let's first get rid of this. And now we're going to do browser router. And then inside of that, we're going to have our routes. So your routes are going to be dynamic because it's going to be based on the section or the page and the sections that you're using. So let's create those dynamic routes. So the first route is going to be path. And this is probably going to break my my thing because I don't actually have this created yet, but you can kind of see the structure being built here. So we're going to have a section and then a page, and this is going to pull in an element from the doc layout. So let's just go ahead and do let's see, docs layout. Now, of course, this doesn't exist yet, so I'm just building it out so that we can create it. And let me get rid of this right now so we can make sure that that is doing what it needs to do. Element equals doc layout. Okay. All right, so now let me copy this, and we want it to also be able to link to a section, not just a page inside of the section. So a section is going to be like your header navigation, and then the page is going to be the left side navigation. So we want it to kind of be from the bottom up is what we're doing here. And I'm going to create a function that's going to basically, if something isn't selected, it's going to redirect to the first file. So let me go ahead and create redirect to first file. All right, and now let's do another one. And this one's just going to be the docs themselves, which is going to redirect to default. And again, these functions will be defined. I'm just kind of laying out the structure of it right now. Let's do one more. And this is going to be redirect to default as well. So basically, if you just go to the docs link, or if you go to the link by itself, it's just going to redirect you to the default document that I want to display. And we'll set that up in just a second. And then finally, we're going to have our path all is going to go to the docs layout. Okay, so now we have the basic structure of what we want our routes to do. So let's start creating some of these functions. So first, let's create a const redirect to default. And we want to make this just redirect to the first page in our document. So let's do navigate to, and we're going to do docs / section 1 and general information. And this is, you would modify this to be whatever you want it to be. But for right now, this is mine. It's going to redirect to the actual link here if nothing is inside of this. So basically, these two are going to redirect to the first page and section that I want to display. Okay, so let's come up here and create another const, and this is going to be redirect to first file. And let's do const section, because we're going to have it where it does have the ability to redirect to a section specifically. And then const navigate equals use navigate. And then const redirecting set redirecting equals use state, and we're just going to set this as no, let's set this true. Okay, so we have where these two are being taken care of now. All right, let's see. We have redirect to default, redirect to first file. Okay. Let's create another function. So const get first order file. And what this is going to do is basically allow us to get the first order based on the markdown document itself. We can put in an order there so that it actually puts them in order whenever you're reading through the documents. Okay, so I think let me go ahead and create some some files here. So inside of our public, let's create a new folder and call it docs. And then I'm just going to create the section 1. So section 1, and then I think I called it general information. So let's do new file, general information.md. Okay, so now we just have a general information file, and I'm going to add the order of 1, and the title, we're just going to make it general information. And then we can come down here and do regular markdown stuff. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So general information, use this custom built document storage website for your intranet, or just for general information. No rebuild required. Okay, so that's enough for this one for right now. Okay, so we're starting to build out our documents over here. So I want to create a new file here. So we're going to do new file, no, inside of the docs. So new file, docs, and this is going to be index.js. And whenever we create, so the public, we're allowed to edit the public files whenever we're not, we don't have to rebuild the app every single time. So that's the reason why I'm adding this inside of the public files, because I want to be able to add new sections or customize what's already there, and it just automatically save as soon as I save it. So I don't have to rebuild it or anything like that. Basically, whenever we go to run, React build, it's going to generate all of the file structure that we need based on the documents and this index file that we're creating here. So let's do window.docsindex. And this is just basically going to be like, for section 1, I'm going to have a general information.md. So whenever I want to add something, I can come in here and I'm going to eventually add like, markdown.md, so you can kind of see the commands. But basically, you do this, and then if you want to add in a new section, you would do like section 2 and then page.md. So if inside of this, I can just create a new folder called section 2. And then inside of this, I can just create a new file called page.md. So that section 2 would now hit this right here, and we can come in here like we did for general information. And since this is a new section, we can order it however we want to order it. So I'm just going to do page. And then you can add whatever markdown that you want to have here. I guess we could do something like section 2 page. Or actually, let's just do section page so we can recreate that. And then we can also come over here, since inside of our index we added this markdown. So let me just copy this and create a markdown. And let's make this one order 2 and markdown. And I'll put in more information for you guys to be able to, if you're not familiar with Markdown, but I mean, it's basically just Markdown code. Okay, so we have our pages created and we have our sections created. So now we have where inside of this act or app.js, we're kind of building out, docs section page, docs section, docs. So we're kind of building out that structure up here. We don't need to get into that part right now. So let's go over to our components and actually create this docs layout so that undefined will go away. So let's create a new file here, and it's going to be called docs layout. We're just going to use JavaScript for this. So all of it's going to be JS based. Hey guys, I think I'm going to end the video here. Not permanently end it because we still have more stuff to do, but as I was compiling this video, it ended up being 124 minutes long. So I'm going to break it up into 3 videos or so. So I'm going to push out one today, and then I'm going to do something I normally don't do, and I'm going to push out one tomorrow, and then hopefully the one the next day after that. So just bear with me as I compile this entire video. But thank you for watching. We have more to cover, and you will have a working solution when you get done with the last video. But just right now, I didn't want to put it all together. Maybe after I do all 3 of the videos, I can go in there and create like a compilation that has the entire project all in one video. But I just didn't want you to have to sit there through 124 minutes. So stay tuned for the next video to come out, hopefully tomorrow. Talk to you later.